Austin. We're glad to have you here with us on Austin Faith Dialogue to appreciate our heritage. Stay with us.
This is Austin Faith Dialogue, a public affairs program discussing the important crossroad of religion in life, produced by Austin Metropolitan Ministries in cooperation with KTBC TV. Austin Faith Dialogue highlights the interaction of the religious community with the social and cultural issues throughout our area. Now, today's edition of Austin Faith Dialogue.
Hello, I'm Richard Thompson, pastor of Central Presbyterian Church, and your host for this edition of Austin Faith Dialogue. And today does mark the beginning of Preservation Week in a capital city. And among those who help us appreciate it the most are those who work with the Austin Convention and Visitors Bureau. And today we have with us the executive director of that agency, Karen Jordan.
Good morning.
And also Ed Vandervoort, who works with the heritage marketing part of that.
Good morning.
And we're delighted to have both you folks here to help us have some focus both on the Preservation Week itself and on the work that you're doing otherwise. And let's start with that. Just give us a sense, Karen, of what you do and why.
Okay. The Austin Convention and Visitors Bureau exists to market and sell Austin to conventions and tourists coming into the city. The hospitality industry in Austin is huge. When you think about all the different people that are affected by the hospitality industry, whether it's somebody at a hotel or a restaurant, local attraction, arts, clubs, whatever it may be in the city. And it's our job to bring people in from outside Austin to enjoy our city.
Okay, well, that seems simple, but it sounds also pretty complex. And what's your particular relation to it?
My particular endeavor is to help market the heritage, the historic sites, what we have here that people come to see and spend some time looking at, hopefully. Mm-hmm. And we can slow their stay down a little bit and keep them here longer.
Mm-hmm. So that's a particular component in the overall program. Mm-hmm. And I see you've out leading tours of downtown in various places. Tell us just a bit about that.
I do the walking tours it's a program that's been in place now for 5 years. And we now have 3 separate tours that are offered. One is Congress Avenue East 6th Street. The next one is the Bremond block, which is residential in nature. And then this year we've added the Capitol grounds as a tour. So there are 3 available, and they work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday every week.
And I know along the way you've looked at some of the church sites that are in the downtown.
Yes, as a matter of fact, there are 3 churches that are involved in the tours. The St. David's Church, the Episcopal Church, of course, being one of the oldest Episcopals west of the Mississippi. We point that out very well. And then St. Mary's Cathedral, mainly because of the funny story in its background, the fact that the parishioners had the foundations and the walls up 5 feet before they hired the architect to design the building. And then
preconceived notions.
Yes. Nicholas Clayton had a little problem there. Mm-hmm. And then First United Methodist, which is over by the Capitol. And that is a very important building because that's their 3rd sanctuary in town. They started out with a log cabin down on 4th and Congress. And that's the only church building in town that doesn't have a steeple or a bell tower. It has the central dome.
Okay, well, I think that a little later in the show we'll come back to some of the features of particularly the downtown. And in the meantime, we need to take a look at what you folks are doing in the Bureau by means of video that you provided us here. And then we'll have you give us some commentary on this after we take a look at it.
Okay.
Bluebonnets and wildflowers, tree-covered limestone hills, sparkling rivers and lakes. A landscape so green and beautiful, it's no wonder that the founders of Texas planted their flag on this piece of paradise in 1839, proclaiming it the capital of their new Republic of Texas. By the time Texas celebrated the completion of its new Capitol building in 1888, Austin had become known as a grand place to visit, and we've been entertaining folks royally ever since. Over the past century and a half, Austin's evolved into a vibrant city of about 500,000 interesting and creative people, doing just about everything from twirling flowers on the street corner to creating cutting-edge technology. And Austin entertainment is now enjoyed by millions around the world. As the capital of the legendary Lone Star State, Austin serves up just about everything you expect to find in Texas. Except here in Austin, we do Texas Austin style. Our cowboys and cowgirls tend to be the musical variety, and they like stepping out at performances of the Austin Lyric Opera and Ballet Austin. Just as much as two-stepping at any of our great clubs and entertainment venues, where you never know who will take the stage to perform. While other Texas cities roll up the sidewalk at dusk, Austin comes alive, especially on historic 6th Street, a 7-block restaurant and entertainment district featuring more live music than practically any place on earth. With over 150 clubs offering live music all over town, we've earned our reputation as the live music capital of the world. The University of Texas, just a few blocks away, offers world-class art at the Harry Ransom Center and the Huntington Art Gallery, science and history at the Texas Memorial Museum, and the Presidential Library and Museum of our 36th President, Lyndon Baines Johnson. A tribute to his vision of the Great Society. Here you'll find gifts of state, election memorabilia, and a replica of the Oval Office where Johnson worked when he was Commander-in-Chief of the United States. Other museums and historic landmarks to see include the French Legation, home of the French attaché to the Republic of Texas in 1841. The O. Henry Home and Museum, home of short story writer William Sidney Porter. The castle-like residence and studio of turn-of-the-century sculptress Elizabeth Ney, who created much of the statuary at the State Capitol building. In an Italian villa on the shores of Lake Austin, the Laguna Gloria Art Museum features a fine collection of contemporary art. This elegant estate was the home of Clara Driscoll, a historic preservationist who helped keep the Alamo from being torn down. Each May, Laguna Gloria hosts Fiesta, one of the largest outdoor art shows in the nation. Austin's proud of its vibrant cultural diversity. Mexicarte Museum, located downtown on Congress Avenue, presents visual and performing arts from a multicultural point of view. And the George Washington Carver Museum, the first local African-American museum in Texas, offers historic and contemporary presentations from an African-American perspective. The Austin Children's Museum, with its child-pleasing fun, is a real treat for the whole family. The Wild Basin Wilderness Preserve is just a short drive away. It's a bird watcher's paradise, noted for sightings of rare and endangered species. Check out the National Wildflower Research Center. Founded by Lady Bird Johnson, it's the only institution in the country dedicated to the conservation of native plants. By now, you get the picture. Austin has plenty of reasons for you to visit again and again. If you're planning a convention or major event, there's no better place for it than downtown Austin in our brand new convention center with over 125,000 square feet of exhibition space. If you don't need quite that much room, Austin's 100-plus hotels and motels offer accommodations to suit every need and budget. So what are you waiting for? Come on down and let us help you create a whole new set of memories in Austin, where music, magic, and good times are yours to enjoy again and again.
My goodness, I look at that and I feel I'd like to visit Austin.
Don't you get excited about it?
Really?
And you know, when you live here, you forget all there is to do here. We're constantly amazed at all of the different things you can do, and sometimes we get into our own little circle and don't go out from that circle unless somebody comes in from out of town.
Right.
And we think, oh my goodness, what will I do with them? But we have a city that has tremendous things to do here, an exciting town.
I have to tell you that my wife and I lived here for 9 years, and we seem to have an endless flow of people that want to come visit with us. So I've set up what I call a Thompson tour.
Yes.
And it's fun to, every time to make that loop, to find some new things to add to it, because there's just kind of an endless supply of those possibilities.
They really are.
You have people telling you that when they come to visit here?
People that come in are constantly amazed at all there is to do. And, you know, you pick up a copy of XLN or something like that just to see what the different venues are just on any given weekend. It's amazing all there is to do. And, you know, like I said, when you're in the city, sometimes you forget about that.
Yeah. What do you enjoy about your job the most?
Well, I love sales, and how difficult can it be to sell this city? It's a wonderful, wonderful destination. I've been here almost a year now, and to have the opportunity to show people all of the wonderful things to do. And yes, we're here to book conventions, but you can't be a good convention city unless you're a good tourism destination, and we're blessed in Austin. We are a good tourism destination. People like to come here for the weekend or for a short vacation, which is what the trends are now for shorter vacations.
And you're not just connected to the convention center, but your portfolio is broader than that.
Right. We market and sell the convention center primarily 18 months and out, as well as combined hotel conventions, as well as individual hotel conventions. And then from a tourism standpoint, our goal is to bring everybody basically within a 350-mile radius of Austin to come in for leisure travel, whether it be for a weekend or for a short vacation with their family.
Well, that's a wide spectrum of choices that people have. And when they're with you, Ed, on your walking tour, tell us a little bit about who goes on that.
Well, it's a wide spectrum of people. I get people all the way from children in strollers, babies. Youngest one has been a 6-week-old baby, believe it or not, one Saturday afternoon, having a lovely time sleeping all through. But right up through the so-called senior citizen who, in their 90s, who are out traveling. People love to walk. They love to see a city from the street, from the sidewalk. And those people are serious about sightseeing and getting to know the area they're in. That's one of the real pluses of the walking tour program, is that it's the kind of thing that people look for when they come into a new city.
And where are they coming from?
All over the world. I have people from as far away as Argentina, the Orient, many of the countries in Western Europe, and I'm now getting people from Poland, Czechoslovakia, Russia. All of those people are now traveling and coming into the area, and they are fascinated with our history, much more so than we are.
Sure, because of the ethnic origins.
Yes, yes. We've got ethnic backgrounds going clear back to the Middle European periods.
And I'd like to say that we don't restrict it to people from out of town.
No, it's everybody.
We want everyone to see it and be proud of their own city, and I want local people to come by and go on tours with Ed. I'm amazed at the number of letters I get from people outside the city that have gone on a tour with Ed, and they said, he created a memory for us we'll not forget anytime soon. So locally,
and Ed
people...
is kind of a memory himself.
Yes, getting that way rapidly.
I'm sorry, I just...
No, that's fine. That's fine, exactly.
Well, you know, before we take the break, if people did from Austin want to come and sign up and walk with you,
all they have to do is show up at the appointed hour on the west entrance of the Capitol building. That's where everything starts. 9 o'clock Thursday, Friday, Saturday morning is Congress Avenue. 11 o'clock Saturday and Sunday is the Bremond Block, and then Sunday afternoon at 2 or Saturday afternoon at 2 and Sunday morning at 9 we do the Capitol grounds.
Okay,
they all start.
The west end of the Capitol?
South entrance.
South end.
Yes,
south
right there at the
okay.
head of the Great Walk.
And down on Congress at the very...
No, right up by the building.
Up by the building, okay.
On the
All
steps.
right, well that's good, so that
everything starts there.
Sure. Well, listen, some of us might just show up one of these days.
Great. Come do.
We're going to have to take a pause here, and hope you folks will stay with us as we continue our appreciation of Preservation Week in Austin.
Serving Austin means serving you. That has always been the primary goal of Austin Metropolitan Ministries. We are religion in action through the work of these organizations. Each plays a key role in making the capital city a better place to live, but we can't do it alone. Do you have some spare time, talents, or any resources that you can share? If you do, please call AMM at 472-7627, because serving Austin means serving you.
Welcome back to Austin Faith Dialogue, where today we are reflecting upon Preservation Week, which begins today. And Ed, I think that in your heritage side of things with the Austin Convention and Visitors Bureau, that you have some religious-related sites for people to anticipate.
Yes, there will be. For example, this afternoon, they're dedicating a marker at Temple Beth Israel, which is a historic marker celebrating the establishment of the temple here in Austin. There are, throughout the week, a number of things going on a regular basis. The Catholic Archives has a wonderful exhibit that will be open to the public all week long. Bethany Cemetery is going to be, they're going to use a cleanup process there, again, sponsored by the Texas Historical Commission, which this is a program they've started recently, and really not abandoned cemeteries, but cemeteries that have been neglected over the years. So those particular things, the regular things that happen during Heritage Week, for example, we have the Heritage Society home tours next weekend, and that's always very popular. This year it will feature early 20th century homes for one of the first times. We are getting to the point that early 20th century is going to become historic.
Well, that's right. That's right.
So they're doing that, and we have the Vermont Walking Tour as a noontime activity every day. Starts at 12:15 from the north entrance of the Austin History Center there on Woolridge Park. And the other activities going on throughout the week, they're numerous. The possibility of working with Jordan Bachman Farm will be open, and they will have celebrations and activities going on. The Historic Commission has put together a drive-yourself tour of roadside attractions, restaurants, and motels, all dating from the 30s and 40s.
Okay, well, I mean, it just goes on and
Yes,
on.
there's infinite activity.
Well, and we should say that if you didn't memorize all that Ed just said, they can come by our offices, our Visitor Information Center, which is on the corner of San Jacinto and 2nd Avenue, and pick up more information, or else call the Austin Convention and Visitors Bureau hotline, and we can tell you all the information on what's going on this week, as well as any time during the year. So, and I also have to say we're very excited. The Undersecretary of Travel and Tourism for the United States will be here on Friday afternoon to dedicate our new Visitor Information Center on the corner of 2nd and San Jacinto.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What date is that again?
It will be May 12th.
And this is from D.C. coming down to...
Greg Farmer will be coming down. He is the one that's doing the U.S. Conference on Travel and Tourism, and he is going to be in Austin that day. And we feel very, very fortunate that we're going to have him here.
Well, I would think so. I mean, this is going to expand the coverage, certainly.
Absolutely.
I think that as a program that's dealing with the ecumenical interfaith community, our interest is always to see what is the interface with the interfaith folks, and give us a little bit of a sense of how the religious factor enters into your work.
Okay. Well, we have one individual in our office that handles the religious market. We are out pursuing any kind of conventions that we can from the religious standpoint. There's a particular organization or a trade association that is called Religious Convention Managers Association, which is our prime target for that religious market. And these are all individuals that plan conventions or any retreats or anything like that for any religious organizations. The organization has about 2,400 members, so it's a large group. They met this last January in San Antonio. And at the conclusion of that meeting, we were fortunate enough to steal several of them and bring them down to Austin for a weekend fan so that they could see it. Austin's a great destination for religious conventions.
Yeah, what makes it that way?
Well, I think it's a relaxing destination. It's a safe, friendly destination, and one that we find that youth especially enjoy coming to. We have been pursuing that business out of the RCMA group that I mentioned earlier, and I think right now we probably have about 25 or 30 different groups that are looking at Austin for their religious convention.
RCMA, what's that again?
Religious Convention Managers Association.
And you say there were 2,400 people at a meeting of this? And these like represent denominations and religious bodies of other sorts?
All sorts of different religious bodies, anything from a youth organization like a Youth for Christ or something like that to Assemblies of God to you name it. It's just a huge, huge
Maybe even
organization.
Presbyterian somewhere.
Maybe even Presbyterian. Absolutely. So we are working real hard with it. We've not been able to book quite a few of them up until this year because we did not have a facility. When we built the convention center, we didn't realize how, well, basically how popular it was going to be, and it's going very well, I might add.
Well, you know, that's good to hear, because after it was built, there was some report in the press that it was sort of standing empty a good bit of the time. But you're saying it's not now?
No, it's not. We're doing very well. A study was done, I guess it was probably back in, I'm going to say 1988, with Laventhal and Horvath, and they looked at whether we should build a center in the first place. At that point, they did projections on what the occupancy would be at the hotels, how many pieces of business we'd have at the convention center, to determine whether it was going to be economically feasible for us to build this facility. And I have to tell you at this particular point, which we've now been open a little over 2 years, we opened July 4th, 1992, we are ahead of all of the projections. So the facility is doing extremely well. It is not paid for by anyone locally. It's funded strictly through bed tax dollars, which are paid when you check out of a hotel, as well as rental on the facility. So that facility is totally funded by people outside of Austin, and it brings money into the city, as my organization is funded by bed tax dollars.
Sure. Well, this July the 4th, we'll have something to celebrate in addition to Independence Day, sounds like, in Austin. And we did a program back in '92 with the folks who were working with the convention center at that time. And through Austin Metropolitan Ministries, we had a celebration. The religious community saying we're in support of this and would like to be cooperatively related. And I'm just delighted to hear what's happened since. I think we'll all celebrate that success.
Absolutely. It's doing well. And please tell that story.
Okay, I will. I sure will. And we'll have folks who watch this tell it as well.
Great.
I think that there's a little bit of a sense that everybody in Austin has the opportunity to be involved in spreading the word about the heritage, Ed?
Very definitely. And I think also everybody in Austin has a responsibility to get groups to come in and use the Visitor Center and the Convention Center. You know, it's not, they have friends, they belong to groups, those groups have meetings. That's the kind of people that
the word of mouth.
We want to hear from.
Absolutely. I mean, there's not probably anyone watching this show that doesn't belong to some association or organization that has some kind of a meeting. And we want to work with their organizations and bring them into their own hometown, and we want to make them hometown heroes. So we hope that if they think of one that they might invite to Austin, Texas, they'll pick up the phone and call us at the Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Yeah. Right now, you can't handle really national meetings of lots and lots of people. I mean, we don't have that much hotel space, among other things, right?
Right.
I remember this weekend recently where even the Hotel Managers Association couldn't find rooms. Well, that's ironical.
Well, and I had a group in this last weekend, and they were registering at the convention center, and 4 people that registered said that they were going to have to spend the night in their car because they couldn't find a hotel room in Austin.
Oh, my word.
It's not just a one-time situation. The city is doing well as far as occupancy of hotels.
A little bit like growing like Topsy at this point, it sounds like.
Right.
And so if you can accommodate people from kind of regional meetings and
right. Basically, our market is the state of Texas and the region, and that's due because of the size of the convention center as well as the limited number of available hotels downtown. And I think it's important when we talk limited number, we can put 12, 14, 1,500 room package together easily in the downtown area. So my numbers as far as limited number and what other people might think of as limited number are 2 different things. But the convention center has about a little over 125,000 square feet of exhibit space, which seems like a great deal of space unless you look at the convention center in Dallas, which has about 650,000 on one level and San Antonio's, I think, going to be close to 1 million when they complete their next expansion.
I've heard you say, where you spoke recently about one of these hotels in, maybe it was a Marriott in San Antonio, has more space than not just our convention center, but all of our hotel
Right, exactly.
accommodations in addition. So
The Anatole in Dallas and the Marriott in San Antonio basically have the same type of a package as we have in Austin, Texas. So,
I tell you, in the time we have left, I would like to make one contrast to the term religious marketing, which is a legitimate thing and a necessary thing, but it sounds a little commercial, a little crass for those of us who are in more of the spiritual kinds of things. But I also think that there is in the Bible, I've shared with you my perception that hospitality is a biblical theme. Visitation is a biblical thing.
Right.
So that how you go about doing your business can be done with in a different spirit if you see it as part of something that just transcends bottom line kinds of considerations. Have you had a sense of that?
Yes, very definitely. That enters into it very much so.
Just illustrate that in terms of the difference it makes.
Well, traveling is a very personal experience. And people who travel take back a memory situation with them. And that very often can be almost to the quality of a religious experience with them, because it is
Kind of like a pilgrimage.
yeah, it's more like a pilgrimage sort of thing. They come, for example, if they come to Austin, they realize that not only is Austin steeped in recent history, but we also have the Republic of Texas history, which is a unique situation.
Right.
There, we were a separate republic, and that adds a whole nother dimension.
So there's an
to what they're
appreciation
planning.
factor involved.
Very definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
How would you describe that?
the hospitality and,
Yeah.
well, I know it's pretty natural from my roots. As you know, I was a Baptist minister's daughter growing up, and so it was only natural that our home was open constantly to people coming in and visiting. And we had the Thomas tour, though, instead of the Thompson tour. But, so it was only very, very natural for me to continue on and to go out and have the spirit of hospitality and go into the Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Yeah. Well, I want to say that you folks have communicated that spirit to us today.
Thank you.
And I think Preservation Week 1995 can be the occasion for us all to enter into that spirit.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate
Yes.
it very much.
Yeah,
This
thank
is
you,
wonderful.
Karen, Ned. And thank you folks for being with us today. And we hope that you'll be with us again next week. I'm Richard Thompson, your host, and thanking you for watching. And peace be with you.
For more information, call Austin Metropolitan Ministries at